Good evening, everybody. How are you? This is Freddie Ewan, two-time GM of the Year, 2023 Pan Cup champion, 2024 regular season champion, host of the TPFF show. We got a great show in store for you tonight. Just doing a couple laundry work. A couple days, we are going to have the commissioner on the show with a special guest. We're going to come out with the 2024 TPFF schedule. Super excited for that. If everyone sees, I am wearing my Wyoming shirt right now. Joe Munoz is better than anyone. I wish they all could be Wyoming girls. If you never did a Wyoming girl before, you're shit out of luck. Date a Wyoming girl. There's only about 4 of them left, but date one because they're awesome. Also bring a new book, Talking to Goats. Everyone that's on here, by Jim Gray, great book. Muhammad Ali interview, Michael Jordan interview, Tiger Woods interview, Kobe Bryant, Michael Phelps, Mike Tyson, and LeBron James. His second book is going to come out with other goats, like the goat of the TPFF the GM of TOD. A couple people are trying to want to make bets with me. Champ wants to bet me $50 who's going to have a better record this year. He's got like $400 more in cap room than me this year. And then cousin Pat, I don't know how to pronounce his last name because it's some Italian Val from Jersey or whatever. Cousin Pat said he watched 3/4 of the NFL, but he wants to bet with me too. And he also took over some team which has like $300 more cap space with you. So I make smart bets, and $94 in cap room or whatever I have, it doesn't, the outlook for me doesn't look too good in the TPFF this year. But let's remember too, last year I had $109 in cap room and had a better record than anybody else in the TPFF Can it happen again? Probably, because I'm great. I'm just a great GM. I mean, I just, and it speaks for itself. So we got some new TPFF GM. Zach is out. J. Dot, the runner-up for the Pan Cup championship, current GM of the year, is out. I am trying to get him to be a co-GM on TOD, which I think is legal because he didn't get kicked out. He resigned, which may or may not happen. Stay tuned for that. We're going to find that out soon. We're going to talk about some things really quickly. Hoping to get Neil on, but we're going to get the new guys on. We'll try to get cousin Pat on. We'll try to get, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Tahiti. I'm just going to call him Tahiti. Seems like a good guy. Seems like he knows his fantasy football. Haven't met him in person. He still very, very well could be Rich Michelli. So we'll have to find that out too. It could be another one of Rich's friends who only makes trades with him, but we'll see. Let's talk about a couple players that have downgraded this year. Austin Ekeler goes to the third overall ranked player last year's preseason. He is now the 100th ranked player. On a new team, he's on the Washington Commanders, whatever you want to call them. I think Ekeler is definitely not a top 20 player anymore, but I definitely don't think he's as bad as 100. I think Ekeler is going to get some opportunities in Washington, and I think that Jane Daniels is probably going to be a little bit better than everyone thinks. They don't have the greatest offensive line in the world. Brian Robinson is a fairly good back, which is going to probably split carries with him. But, Ekeler had a injury-plagued season. He's a little bit older than he was before. Throwing him down to 100, I don't know. I mean, I might, if you can get him for cheap, or if you can get him for the late round and take a flyer on him, I don't think he's a bad idea. Another guy who went all the way down, Cooper Kupp, 7 to 56. I don't like this at all. I think Cooper Kupp is still going to be a very good wide receiver. If we don't forget, it was 2 years ago that this guy broke every wide receiver record there was in the NFL. Puka had a great year last year, but, Stafford was out for a bunch of times. I think, I don't even know if Puka's going to be the number one receiver there. Kupp still has it going all the way down to 56. I am not too sure about that. Travis Kelce, 9 to 28. I'm kind of in agreement with this. Kelce is a little bit older. I think that you're going to see Kansas City kind of put together a new offense where they're really going to be trying to air the ball out. They picked up a lot of wide receivers with speed. They're really looking for the next Tyreek Hill. Kelsey's still going to get his touchdowns. He's still going to get his catches, but is he? And he's still a top, three tight end. But is he a top 10 NFL fantasy player? Probably not. Probably not. I think that's probably a good adjustment going from 9 to 28. Same thing here with Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs on a new team. He's on the Green Bay Packers. They have a good team. They have a good offense. Jacobs went from 11 to 31. And this was the year before Jacobs had that really great year, scored all those touchdowns, all those rushing yards. Going down to 31, I think Jacobs might be a little bit farther back than 31. He is not someone that I'm big on. He's a little bit older, and I he's going to be, it's always good to have backs that are on teams that are good teams that score. So that will help on the Packers, but I don't know. This guy, I think, is perfect where he is. Tony Pollard went from 13 to 98. Really, Pollard had a great year the year before when Zeke was playing on Dallas. Zeke is back on Dallas, but Pollard really, they gave him the keys to the running game in Dallas last year, and he really just shit a brick and didn't do much at all. He goes over to Tennessee, where he is going to be behind Spears. Falls all the way down to 13 to 98. I think, I don't think you're going to see a bounce back from Pollard. Next guy we have, and this is the last of the droppers, is Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb goes from 18 to 115. I think this is total bullshit. Chubb had a horrible injury. He had a horrible injury, but modern medical science, you can come back from this injury. And Chubb has never really used his legs to be a runner. Chubb is more of a big physical back. Cleveland, he's still going to be the number one back in Cleveland. I think from him to drop from 18 all the way down to 115, I think is way off. I think if you can get your hands on Chubb, I think Chubb is going to be able to score some TDs. Watson's going to be back. The jury's still out on whether Watson's ever going to be a good quarterback again like he was in Houston. I thought the trade they made for him and signing that contract was crazy, but that's for another episode. But Watson, if Watson's back, Cleveland has a great defense. I think Chubb will have a lot of opportunities to rebound this year. Going from the other way around, let's talk about Puka. Not rated at all last year. He goes to 13. Puka was a 5th round pick in the NFL draft. I actually took him for a lot of best ball lineups last year. He did great for me. Him going up to number 13, I think Puka is going to be a good wide receiver. Is he a top 15 fantasy player? That still remains to be seen. I do think, like I said before, I think Kupp is still going to get a lot of passes, and I think he's still going to be Stafford's number one guy. So I really don't see Puka being like, the all-out end-all. And another guy in the Rams, which, when he was healthy, was fantastic. Kyren Williams goes from not rated all the way up to number 11. I don't necessarily agree with this. Kyren Williams is a guy that I'm really staying away from. Blake Corum is someone that the Rams drafted. I think Corum is a great running back. He was on a very good team with Michigan. They had a very good offensive line, but Corum definitely fits McVay's kind of running. He's a little ball back, can get a lot of goal line work and a lot of touchdowns. And I think he's really going to take some things around Kyren Williams. And Kyren Williams, in the games that he played, he was fantastic. But Kyren Williams was not healthy last year, and he's still a young guy too. So that's one that I don't agree with necessarily. This other one, remains to be seen too. This is a big fetch. Breece Hall goes all the way from 41 to number 2. They have Breece Hall rated as the number 2 fantasy player, right behind CMC. I think Breece Hall is going to have a much better year than he had last year. He was hurt a lot of the time last year. Aaron Rodgers is obviously back. The Jets had a pretty good offseason. Is Breece Hall a number 2 fantasy football player? Let me put it this way. He can be. Will he be? That remains to be seen. I don't think that if I have the number 2 slot and CMC goes first, I don't think I'd be taking Brees Hall with the second overall pick. I think that I'd be looking more at who the best wide receiver is, um, just because of the injuries status. But I don't know. Brees Hall's going to be good. He's going to be a lot better. But is he number two? Remains to be seen. Pacheco goes all the way up from 73 to 12. I am with this. I think Pacheco is a young guy. Hasn't been hurt at all. He's a good runner. He had a great Super Bowl, great playoffs. I think Pacheco fits into that Andy Reid system really well. As much as Andy Reid doesn't like to run the ball, I think he is he is the lead back. He's going to get a lot of carries. I think the Chiefs are going to be ahead a lot of the time where he's going to get a lot of opportunities to get the ball. So I'm all with Pacheco taking the lead from 73 to 12. Laporta. Laporta. Laporta goes from not rated to number 28. He is the number one overall tight end in fantasy football right now. I am in 100% agreement with this. I think that Goff and Laporta really hit it off last year. He found him on a ton of passes. I think Laporta is just going to get better and better. He's going to be he's really going to be the tight end that everyone thought Kyle Pitts was going to be. And I think Laporta is going to be the next great tight end in the NFL. Is he going to be Travis Kelce, have a career like him? Probably not. But is he going to be a great tight end for the next couple of years? Absolutely. And our last one here, Nico Collins, going from not rated all the way up to 36. Nico Collins, another guy, had a great year. CJ Stroud had a great year last year. If you're a CJ Stroud owner in a dynasty league, you are one happy person right now. Nico Collins going all the way up to 36 it's a little hard. I know he is rated ahead of Steph Diggs, who got traded there. It looks to me like the Texans, they got the great quarterback on the rookie contract. They're really trying to fill it up with veterans now. You got Joe Mixon over there. You got Diggs over there. Collins is going to have to fight for balls. I mean, Collins is whether he's the number one receiver in Houston remains to be seen, because Diggs still has it, and Diggs did not have that much of a great year last year in Buffalo. He did at the beginning, but he really panned out. But I think Diggs is going to come back and play with a chip on his shoulder, even though he's a little bit older. I don't think Diggs is a top 20 fantasy player anymore, but he's going to give Collins and the other guys a little bit of no one's going to be the ball hog in Houston next year. So that's it. That's my story. Once again, keep your eyes tuned. Keep everything tuned. A couple days from now, we are going to have the commissioner, Mr. Michelli, on here. We're going to discuss the Tpffkal upcoming league. If you want to be on the Tpffkal show, just go ahead, give me a shout. We'll get you on the show. I know we're going to get Joe Murray on here again. Me and Sasquatch are going to be doing your pick of the week. Hopefully we'll get Champ and Firebomb in here. Neil even said it was going to be a show. Jimmy and Jay Wins are always regular recurring guests. And hopefully, even though he's not in the league anymore, we'll get Brian on. And the new guys, Tahiti will get on. And maybe we'll get Bowser on. Maybe we'll get cousin Rick on, or cousin Pat on, and go from there. But anyway, stay tuned. A couple days. Look forward to that show, and everyone have a great night. I wish they all could be Wyoming girls. Yeah.